Hello and welcome back to the Lamenters. We are back after a long hiatus. And in the last episode, a lot of things had happened. A big portion of the group had tracked down Karamina's faithful servant Jeffrey and had recovered him as well as other things. The authentic candlestick, to be specific, and brought him back to Angner to meet up with the rest of the group. Meanwhile, while guarding Karamina, some food and drink was brought up, and Leonard partook of that ale and became violently sick. Having realized that he was poisoned, the group brought him to Melania, the apothecary in the town of Angner, and she was able to create an antidote. Everyone gathering back together at the inn in Angner, now with two prisoners, Karamina in one room and Jeffrey in the other. You guys kind of split up and kept guard over both of them. In the room with Karamina, we have Bivoj, Leonard, and Sarah. And guarding the room with Jeffrey was Claude, Liber, and Oldrad. So let's deal with the Karamina room first. Ever since she was ordered to stop talking and remain quiet, Karamina has basically been laying down in her bed. You don't think that she's actually asleep, but her eyes are closed. Bivoj, Leonard, and Sarah, you guys had some food brought up, and you have been taking shifts. So as you are there, you see Karamina is basically, breathing slowly. Her eyes are closed. She's either actually asleep or doing a pretty good job of faking being asleep. There is candlelight in your room, so you can see her. Is there anything that you wanted to do or talk about?
Well, the upcoming event has to be handled very carefully. And I'll have something to write on and something to write with. I know Leonard can read. I will write down on the paper pillowcases over the heads. I will also say we have to be very careful how we approach these things. We don't want these two to get hurt. And I just draw a dagger with blood dripping off it. And
to be clear, you are writing this down for Leonard.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. And I also put the name Karamina and under the blade. And I also write down under that blade, I'd like to take care of this. And I also write down, but first I need to talk to her. So when we go there, make sure that there are no identifying names used. Make sure that there are no descriptions of where we are. Anything else? You guys have any ideas?
I presume you're vocalizing this or just writing it down.
No, so you see
I vocalized that.
Sarah's written down a bunch of stuff. You see like Leonard nodding and like looking at her, and then she leans over to you and whispers what the last part of what she said. I will have Leonard and Bivoj make a wisdom roll under.
Oh,
that'll work.
That's bad. That's 7 over.
Okay, Leonard.
That's 13 over.
Okay. Sarah, make a wisdom roll under.
Okay. Here we go. 20-sider. Wait, what is this? 10.
Okay.
I don't think my wisdom is very good. I think that's an over, definitely.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
You're fairly certain that Karamina is asleep. Smash cut to the other room. Jeffrey is not asleep. He's tied up and sitting on the bed. He seems to have like a demeanor of defeat. Like, he just seems to be very glum. Liber, Claude, and Oldrad, you are in this room. What do you guys want to do or discuss?
Am I out of my meditative communion?
I'm going to assume that you did that before they brought Jeffrey back in the room. So you did that meditative communion in private.
Okay, perfect.
Critter
So
is resting on a small bedroll.
Yeah. It's me, Liber, and Claude, and Critter in this room, and the lackey.
Yes, and Jeffrey.
Liber, could we have a private conversation? And I will suggest we go outside.
Of course.
Okay, Claude, you see Liber and Oldrad get up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be outside, Claude. We're gonna have a conversation with Liber.
Yeah. I'll just keep an eye on Jeffrey.
Okay.
No worries.
All right. You, Liber and Oldrad, you step out into the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
No one's currently in the hallway. There is a sconce in the middle of the hallway with a single candle, so it's very dimly lit. You don't hear anyone else. You do hear, like, downstairs, you can hear, like, the tavern. You can hear people and sounds and talking and laughing and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Point of order, I did put my sword back on, but everything else is back in the room.
Okay.
Liber, my friend, I haven't come to trust many other people as of late, and our group is a small exception, as are you. So I do this in confidence and with rarity that I would ask if you have the wisdom to recall 2 words that I had been bestowed in the communion. Have you ever heard of the words Groot or Nargenheim? And I whisper those words. I don't say them loudly.
I'm going to let you make a wisdom roll under first.
Me? Okay. Oh, easy. Made that real easy. Like 11 under.
Gort, Gort, Gort.
Yep, I have it.
And Nargenheim. Those were the words that you heard, or rather sensed, from Peshwick.
Yes.
Liber. You know the word Nargenheim. You know Nargenheim because there's some history of Nargenheim in the Book of the One True God. You don't have to make a roll to recall the basic information, which is that Nargenheim was an ancient kingdom to the north. Not exactly sure where or how far north, but that it either existed before the one true God revealed himself, or it came into being shortly after the one true God revealed himself. You are fairly certain that Nargenheim fell centuries ago. That is information that you can recall without even making a roll. You have never heard the word Gort. But as a priest of the one true God, you know that if you pray to the one true God for discernment and for understanding of something, that sometimes your prayers can be answered.
So first, I take your trust very seriously, and I appreciate that, as well as your confidence. And I share what I know about Nargenheim, and that I don't know anything about Gort. And I'm gonna say I think at this time I should take a few minutes and try to commune on my own on Nargenheim and Gort and see if anything comes up. Is there a quiet place that I could probably go to do that?
At the end of the hallway, there's like a small window, and there's like a chair. There's a little bit of moonlight coming into between the slats of the shutters. But there's no other light, so it's kind of dark and quiet at the end of the hallway.
Okay, so I'm going to excuse myself, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to start a prayer to the one true God.
Okay, so you walk down to the end of the hallway, you sit down by that chair, a little bit of moonlight. Oldrad, what do you do during this time? Do you go back in the room with Claude?
How far away is he?
Like 25 feet down the hall.
I'm gonna stay where I'm at. It's gonna be ruminating.
Okay. Liber, in what way do you seek understanding from the one true God? How do you commune?
I'm gonna say that I've been conflicted on this path, and I know there's something for us to do. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the path is, and I need to understand how these words relate and what we need to do, where we need to go.
Okay, point of clarification. Oldrad, when you described these things to Liber, did you explain what you had laid out? In other words,
yeah,
you did.
I'll tell him like that I was studying the objects.
Okay, all right, that has an impact.
Okay.
I'm going to include that as well in my
Okay.
ruminations.
All right. A few minutes into this meditation and prayer, go ahead and make a percentile roll.
Knew that was coming. 25.
Okay. You, your eyes are closed, presumably.
Yeah.
Okay. You know when you, like, your eyes are closed, but, like, there's light? You could still sense the change in light?
Yeah.
You sense, like, a change in light. Like, almost like the cold moonlight is brighter on you. And you begin to feel like there are whispers in your mind. And it doesn't sound like it's actual whispers, like in the physical world, but more like mentally whispers. But it's like a language that you don't understand. But as you concentrate, periodically there are words. And some of the words amidst the whispers make sense to you. The first phrase that you understand the mines of Gort. Mines, M-I-N-E-S. Mines of Gort. Another phrase that makes sense to you. Not by ordinary flame. Not by ordinary flame. The last phrase is cold and lonely to the north lies fallen Nargenheim. Cold and lonely to the north lies fallen Nargenheim. These came through in sporadic sort of understandings. So there are a lot of whispers in the language that you didn't understand, but then those phrases came through interspersed with those whispers that you didn't understand. So in all, that was like 10 minutes of you in a deep meditative state. And at the completion of those prayers, you eyes still closed, you sense the dimming of that moonlight. Oldrad, you perceived no change in the light. You saw the silhouette down the hall, the silhouette of Liber as he sat next to this window with the moonlight beyond. But you didn't see any change in the light. Make a wisdom roll under, Oldrad.
Eight under.
You hear a tapping, faintly tapping noise. Almost like if you're not sure where it's coming from. It's kind of coming from almost like the walls near the rooms that you guys are occupying, but like a very faintly tapping noise, almost like the sound of like if you were to tap a pencil against a wall or something like that. And it's not like a consistent tapping, like drops of water dripping onto something from a leak. It's more like interspersed, like tap, 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 tap.
Right.
Tap, tap. Like
sounds like communication.
Maybe.
Perhaps. But it sounds odd. Doesn't sound.
It's super faint.
Mm-hmm.
Like only the fact that you were quietly waiting for Liber allowed you to even like notice it. Like if you were just walking by, you wouldn't even think twice about it. But because you were in here for like 10 minutes, you actually heard some of it.
I try to pinpoint where that is coming from when I walk in the direction I feel like it's coming from.
Okay.
Quietly.
Make another wisdom roll under.
Natural one.
You put your ear up against the wall between the two rooms that you guys are occupying. And it's certainly coming from there. Closer to the room with Karamina, though. Like it's not like as you kind of scoot your ear along, it's not coming from the room that you were in with Claude and Jeffrey. You kind of, move down the wall and you get closer to the room that Karamina's in.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear it more distinctly in that room. There's another stretch of wall before the door to the room that you guys don't occupy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you move down to that area?
I check it out at least. I'll go try and
as
sense
you
what I can
approach that,
sense.
you kind of put your ear up against it, and it's most clearly between the room that you guys don't occupy and
Mm-hmm.
the Karamina room.
Okay.
Almost dead center between those two doors.
Yeah. I go back to our room where Karamina is and I enter if it's not locked.
That's a good question.
No, we don't
Not
lock it.
Okay. So you open the door You see Karamina apparently sleeping, and you see Sarah like leaning over and kind of whispering to Leonard and Bivoj, and they all look up and see you as you enter.
I look around the room. Is the bed that Karamina in next to the wall that, you know, where I sensed the tapping was?
Yes.
Okay.
What's up?
I signal this to come here.
You guys go
Okay.
over to Oldrad by the door.
Yeah, but I want to watch her too.
Okay, Bivoj, Leonard.
Sarah, I just go Sarah, and I just do this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll do that. I lean in
Yeah.
and I
In
whisper.
that case,
Go ahead. What were you
I'm
gonna say?
just thinking that Leonard is a little bit tired, so he's probably resting. So he will just stay in the place, looking over, and he pulls out his book and starts writing.
Okay.
Tapping on the wall. I think maybe she's communicating with somebody next door.
Hmm. Okay, so her bed is up against that wall.
To be clear, Oldrad, when you entered their room, did you close the door?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When you entered their room, did you close the door? Or is the door still open to the hallway?
It's still open.
Okay.
So is her bed up against that wall where
It
he
is.
says
It is. But she's not facing the wall. She's facing you guys. She's facing the middle of the room. So her back is to the wall. And you could clearly see like her hands, you know, she's like slowly breathing like she's sleeping.
Okay, there's another bed in the room, right?
That's the one that Leonard's sitting on reading his book.
Hey, Leonard, can you get up a second?
Yeah. What do you need?
Need to move her over to this other bed.
Okay. How do you wake her?
Well, I push her.
Okay.
I just kind of shake her
Yeah,
on the
you
shoulder.
Shake her a little bit. She's like, she like looks around and blinks. She's like, what is it?
We are moving you to this other bed.
I was just starting to fall asleep. You must. And she kind of gets up and
I'll hold her like a cop holds a detainee and
Okay.
take her over there.
okay.
I've been watching too many videos lately.
She goes over to the other bed and kind of, you know, rustles around a little bit to try to find a comfortable spot, and then she puts her head down on the pillow, closes her eyes.
Bivoj, you good here?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I need to speak with Leonard.
Okay, just go ahead.
Yeah, don't let her do any tricks on you.
Don't worry. And I keep playing with my
Oh,
knife.
Leonard.
Sorry, Leonard. I need you out here. And I'll just take him downstairs.
Take
And,
Leonard downstairs to the inn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get a drink, and I'll say, Oldrad said there was some tapping coming from the wall where Karamina had been lying.
Pause.
Do you?
Oldrad, do you go back to the Jeffrey room, or because right now Claude's by himself there? Or are you staying in the Karamina room with Bivoj?
While he's thinking, we were quiet in our room. Did we notice any tapping?
No.
Okay.
I want to stay in the room with Karamina, and I'm
Okay.
gonna sit by the door.
Okay. So the door is closed.
I close it and I sit by
Okay.
the door.
So you're sitting by the door. Bivoj sitting on the bed that she was in, but now is opposite of her. Claude and Critter are in the room with Jeffrey. Liber, you finish up your prayer. Which room do you go back to? The Jeffrey room?
The Jeffrey room.
Okay. Claude, the door opens. Liber goes in. Liber, when you go in, you see Claude, Critter, and Jeffrey, but not Oldrad.
I'm gonna just look around the room and then go back to check to find out where Oldrad went.
Okay. You go to the Karamina room. You go to open the door, and the door doesn't really budge. Oldrad, there's someone trying to open the door. Can't hear you.
I get up and open the door.
Okay. It's Liber.
Can we talk in the hallway?
Of course. And I close the door and come out in the hallway.
Do you talk in the hallway right outside of the door?
Do we?
He's setting up a paranoia trap.
Or I'm just asking, or do you go back down the hall where you were doing the prayer?
I mean, like not right by the door, not all the way to the corner, but like kind of just like, a little bit off.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to really over here, but we're not hiding.
Okay, so a little further down the hallway away from it, but not all the way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're standing there.
Right. So I communed, and I definitely got something. I don't know what it means though. There was a lot of sounds, a lot of voices that I couldn't quite interpret, but some things just came through. The minds of Bort. Not by ordinary flame. And cold and lonely to the north lies full in Nargenheim. Did I get a feeling if I was being directed in any of these messages as I heard them?
Your wisdom is 18. Roll a d6 and add 3 and tell me what the result is.
6.
You know from the Book of the One True God that the legend about the oracle who revealed the one true God to the people was that he came down from the mountains. Doesn't specify where, what mountains, or where he came down from, but that he came down from the mountains. Now, you are surrounded by mountains where you are physically right now. There are mountains to the west, mountains to the east, and a huge mountain range to the north. Those are all things that you know. As to whether or not you have been directed, you don't so much feel like you've been directed, but you do have a curiosity about what was revealed to you by the one true God and why.
So I can't say for sure, but my curiosity drives me that I think we should go north. We should try to find Nargenheim. It's a mix of my feeling and my curiosity, but I think some of our answers may be there. And if we could find out where Gort is in these mines,
Gort is a mine?
The one of the messages that I was receiving was the mines of Gort. So it might have been a mine, or the mines were in Gort.
I have a note down, Bill, that maybe I mis wrote it down, but is Gort, and then is a mine apparently now, and then I had wrote a note down saying that the steel of my sword is Goot, or is that also Gort? Did I miswrite that?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of spoilers, but
Of
all
course.
all of your interpretations are valid.
Thank you.
So in this case, player memory actually perfectly fits with in-character.
Yeah, it does.
As all of you know, you have suffered memory loss.
Yes.
And this actually fits perfectly. So was it Goot? Was it Gort? Was it both? Is it either?
Questions for later. I agree, Liber. Maybe we should talk with the rest of our companions and perhaps plan an expedition north after we take care of the business here.
Agreed. I think that's our next stop. After this meeting tonight, we should head north, unless something drastically changes.
Recall also that you all put yourselves into the service of Lee County and agreed that you would go check out the outpost to the west that had been attacked. So just another thing to remember.
Good.
What do you guys do after this conversation? Which room?
I'm gonna go back into the room here with Karamina. There's only Bivoj in there.
Okay, so you
Did
go to
Oldrad tell me about the tapping?
I did not. I will now, but I'll tell you that while you were over in the by the window, I heard a rhythmic tapping of sorts, and it was coming from the room of Karamina, and then the room next to that room that we do not occupy. So they moved her from that wall to the other bed, and that's where I was when you found me. I'm gonna go back in there just to make sure that she's more guarded.
Okay, I'll head back into Karamina's room. Before I do it, I put my ear to the wall where he indicated the tapping was, just to see if I hear anything.
You do not.
Okay, and I go back into the Karamina room.
Okay, so Oldrad, Liber.
Wait, you're also going into the Karamina room?
Oh, I thought you went. I'm sorry, to the Jeffrey room. Sorry.
Okay,
to the Jeffrey.
so
Okay.
Liber and Claude are now in the Jeffrey room, right? Oldrad and Bivoj are in the Karamina room. This is why splitting the party is a pain in the ass. Smash cut back to the tavern. Sarah, you and Leonard are in discussion about this.
Oldrad told me that there was a rapping, as if something was gently tapping on the wall
Tapping. Okay.
between our room and the other.
So... Man, this
I
never
was
ends.
wondering,
Could we?
because you tend to be learned in languages and maybe know something of communication. I've heard that prisoners do this in prisons. They tap on walls to send messages, but I don't know anything else. Could you maybe occupy that bed for a moment when we get back up and see what you can hear?
Yeah, I probably can do that, but it depends what they use. Also, it's probably 10 years since I'm familiar with systems used. I don't know, they might have changed.
As you're discussing this in the very busy tavern, people milling about, people standing up and talking and laughing and drinking and eating. Smash cut. Bane, you go upstairs. You've prepared yourself, covered in mead. You drunkenly knock on the door, pounding on the door several times until it's answered by a small man who's no more than 5'6" in height, tan skin, black curly hair, black mustache and pointed goatee, wearing clothing that you would assume is kind of more akin to warmer climates. You introduced yourself using a fake name, and he introduced himself. Rather, he said you could call him Vincenzo. And he's looking at you curiously, and he's like, so as you see, this is clearly my room. You must have made a mistake. Smash cut to the other room. You guys heard a sound of knocking on a door, but not your door. But you hear some conversation outside in the hallway. Bane, what do you do as this small man looks up at you?
I may have made a mistake, but I'm certain that there was something that I'm not remembering.
And saying that, you see that on his ring finger is a signet ring that looks precisely like that which was worn by Karamina.
I grab his hand. As soon as I see it, I just grab his hand and pull it up to my face to get a closer look at the ring.
He's like, sir, what are you doing?
I've seen this before.
He's like, it is the signet of a noble house, of which I am a member of the family.
Tell me. Ugh, everything is so cloudy. I've got to gather myself. Where is everyone? Everyone!
You hear Bane yell out, all of you.
I say to Leonard, uh-oh, let's get upstairs real quick.
Bane, roll a d6. No, sorry, you guys downstairs don't hear it.
Oh, okay.
A
Everyone
6.
is going to have to make a roll soon. Da-dun-da-dun.
Let's roll for initiative.
No, not quite. Almost. Almost. No, more importantly, first, I am going to ask Bane to make a d20 roll because there's something important that has to be evaluated. So, Bane, go ahead and roll a d20 and tell me what the flat result is.
12.
12, level 4. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Now we can roll d20s for initiative. I don't like rolling d6s. I'm going to say roll a d20, add your dexterity modifier or subtract it for those of you who are deficient in dexterity, and then tell me the summative of that.
All of us?
17.
No, not the people in the tavern.
Okay.
Sorry.
19.
Okay, so Liber has a 19. That's pretty high. Oldrad?
I rolled a freaking 1, and I have a -1.
Oh, 0. That's good. Claude?
I got 5.
Claude with the 5. Claude with the 5. Bivoj?
22.
Bivoj killing it with a 22. All right. That's funny. In my notes, it auto-corrected Bivoj to bivouac. That's a military term for something that I don't know.
It's a camp, bivouac camp.
There you go. All right. So, Bivoj, you hear Bane yell out, "Everyone!" in his giant-like voice. What do you do, Bivoj? You're up.
Who's there with me? Leonard and Oldrad.
So we are with Sarah downstairs.
Just
So
me.
you are
It's
with
just me.
Oldrad.
Yeah, just Oldrad.
Okay, as I hear this,
Yeah.
and I know that our gentle giant might be in danger, so I instinctively run to the corridor
Okay.
just to get the situation.
When you open the door, the hallway is lit by a single candle in the middle of the hallway. But you see Bane laying on the hallway floor. You see that his clothes are covered in some liquid, not blood, but just like as if he spilled on himself. and he is laying out unconscious on the floor.
Okay, I just come to him with my dagger drawn.
All right, you walk over to him, you draw your dagger. You see that he's laying on the floor in front of the door to the room that you guys were not occupying. And then, about 10 feet past that, you see the stairs that go down. The door is closed, and Bane is unconscious.
I try to sniff, like, what's on Bane's
He
body.
He reeks of mead. And he's like snoring. You don't see any visible wounds on him. Like there's no blood, there's no wounds. But he reeks of mead and he's like snoring.
Okay,
That's all for you. Liber, your turn.
Okay. Is it feasible for me to grab my rapier as I exit the room?
Yes.
So I grab it, exit the room. Look into the hallway.
Yes.
Assuming Bane as well.
Bivoj leaning over Bane, who is passed out on the ground in front of the door of the room that you guys were not occupying.
So I look at Bane, I look at the door, and I remember the tapping sounds.
Yes.
And I'm thinking something happened. I again listen to the door. I put my ear to the door. I want to see if I hear anything. Carefully.
Make a wisdom roll under.
8 under.
You hear like a creaking sound, like something being opened quickly.
Everyone, quick! We need to get this door down.
Okay, that's you.
Yeah.
Claude, you're at 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm getting up, draw my sword, and with a polite sorry, just sideswipe Jeffrey on the head, knocking him out.
Oh.
Before heading out.
Go ahead and make an attack roll. I'll give you a +4 because he's prone and tied up.
17 plus 5.
Yeah, that's good enough.
No.
Roll damage. This will be non-lethal damage. You can add 4 to the damage.
That's 6 and 4 would be 10.
Okay. You successfully knock him out.
Yeah.
Oldrad, your turn.
I stand up and open the door, or I go to the door and look outside.
You see Bane passed out on the front on the floor. Bivoj kneeling next to him, with a dagger drawn, and you see Liber standing next to him, pointing at the door of the room that you guys had not occupied. And you hear Liber say, like, quickly, we have to get this door down.
Maintain.
I am very hesitant to do that. So, is there a window facing the outside in our room?
Yeah, every room has one window, and it has wooden shutters because there aren't glass windows here because glass is expensive.
Right. I run over to that window and I open it and I look out.
Oh. Okay. Go ahead and make a wisdom roll under.
Natural 1.
You look out. You see the yard behind the inn. You see the bathhouse. Remember the bathhouse? And then you see the outhouse. And as you're kind of looking, you don't really see anyone out there. You see some ambient light from like the kitchen, but curiously, you notice that as you look to the right, the room that would be adjacent to you, you see the like the cloth curtains kind of flapping, and you see that they, like, as if that that shuttered window had been open.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is, I want to say, about a 17-foot drop down from here to ground level.
Yeah. Okay.
That summarizes you. Back to the top of the order, Bivoj. What would you like to do? Bane is still sleeping.
Okay, as I've heard the who was it, Liber? Who
Yeah.
was yelling?
Yeah, he's right next to you. He said, quickly, we have to get this door down.
I'm trying to shoulder the door.
Okay, go ahead. Make a strength roll under.
Oh, oh, 1 second. Oh, I have 4 under.
Okay, you succeed. You bash the door in. The door flies open, it splinters. The deadbolt was not put into place, so you just, basically broke the area that closes. And there's a candle, there's, the standard room, same room setup as what you guys had. But what you notice, however, is that the shutters, the wooden shutters are open, and the cloth drapes are just kind of blowing.
I presume
you
that
don't see anyone in the room.
I presume that with my turn, I'll be just on my way to the window.
Okay. You run over to the window. You look out. You turn. You look. You don't see anything outside except for the bathhouse and the outhouse and a little ambient light from the kitchens. And then when you look left, you see Oldrad looking out the window, looking at you.
I wave at him, and that's probably my turn.
And that's it. Liber.
I run down.
Bivoj crashed through.
I see the room's empty, so I'm going to run down the stairs. I'm yelling for Sarah and Leonard as I do.
Okay, you run down the stairs. You get into the tavern. Dozens of people. It's packed. It's like dinner, past dinner time. People are drinking. You see Sarah and Leonard kind of at a table across the bar, and you yell out to them. Sarah and Leonard, you see Liber yell out to you and wave to you guys. Attacking you.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Something happened.
You get up and start making your way. What's that?
I'm running towards the front door to see if I can see where.
Okay. Claude.
Yep.
Jeffrey's knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, probably made with my movement, I would have made it into the hallway.
Bane is on the ground. Yeah. The door to the unoccupied room is open.
Mm-hmm.
You see. I mean, do you go over there?
Yeah, I'll go over to Bane. He's guessing that because the other guys left, that he wasn't seriously problematic.
You don't see any.
I just give him a couple of pats to the face, like you do with a knockout friend. See if you can.
All right, Bane, make a Constitution roll under. That should be relatively easy.
12.
You succeed. You are on the floor, and you see Claude over you, kind of slapping you on the face and waking you up. The last thing that you remember, Bane, was what? What was the last thing you remember?
There was a little man in this hallway. I saw a ring.
As you go to describe this, in your right hand, you feel something. You are holding a ring with the signet of House Nicolo.
I don't know how I got this ring.
You remember grabbing his hand and pulling at it, and him protesting, and that was the last thing you remember, shouting for everyone, and that was the last thing you remember.
I must have pulled it off of his hand.
Yeah, you feel like maybe you pulled it off of his hand if you were holding it.
Okay.
Where did he go?
You see in the room, as you're like getting up, you see like Bivoj leaning out the window. You don't see the little man in the room.
I'm afraid I'm a bit useless here, everyone. I was holding him. He said his name, Vincenzo.
How did he even knock you out? You're a bear.
I have no idea. I just grabbed him. I saw the ring and I grabbed him. The ring must have slipped off his finger and I must have hit my head.
When Claude asked you how he knocked you out and you're ruminating on that, roll a d20 and tell me what the result is.
4.
You suddenly have a flash. Your flashback is from a time when you were a younger man. You were in combat. A great battle. You can't see the details of who you're fighting, but you're in a battlefield. There is a raging storm. Rain is pouring down. Your visibility is almost nothing. You hear the screams of people in pain. You hear the yells of battle. You hear people calling for help. And you see people coming at you, other soldiers that you know are not your allies coming at you, and you're swinging out at them. And you see flashes of lightning in the sky.
What is this?
And you feel like a bloodlust coming over you as you carve your way through one opponent after another. And you're going towards something, but you can't remember what you're going towards. You're fighting your way through these enemies to get to something. And then the last flash of lightning is almost blinding, and there's almost like a purple afterglow. Like after the flash of lightning, like all you could see is like you're temporarily blinded, and there's almost like purple spots in your vision, and you fall asleep. And that falling asleep is almost like the same sensation that you had just a moment before.
This has happened before. This has happened before. I'm remembering. I was in a great battle. Many soldiers' blood was on my sword. And then suddenly, through the lightning storm, a flash of purple light, and I hit the ground, asleep, and I woke up with you all. This has happened to me before.
Yeah, but this time you woke up right here where we are. So,
Maybe I'm...
But it's... At least you seem to remember where you were when we got booted out of time.
I think the important fact is that this feeling, this is the man that put us to sleep. Somehow, it is the exact same feeling.
But if he was the one getting us here, why would he knock you out and run?
With that question, we smash cut. Oldrad, you're looking out the window. You see Bivoj pop his head out, looking around just as furiously as you, and neither of you see any sign of anyone. What do you do, Oldrad?
What happened, Bivoj? Did you see anyone in there?
No, not at all. Just the ambient light and bathhouse.
And I don't see like
Karamina is awake, and she's looking at you.
And I don't obviously see like bedroll sheets like as a rope or nothing like that.
Nope.
He couldn't have jumped. He wouldn't get far.
When you say that out loud?
I'll search the room.
I do not say that out loud.
Okay. Bivoj, what do you do to search the room?
I look under the table, maybe under the bed. If there is a closet or something like that, I'll check
There
in.
are all of those things.
I'll check them in this order.
Okay. You are beginning your search. Liber, you are at the front door of the inn. Sarah and Leonard, you come into the foyer and you see Liber at the front door, opening the front door. Liber, do you explain what's happened?
Not yet. Just first take a quick look around, see if I see anyone obviously who I'm after.
You open the front door to the inn and you just see the street. There are people in the street. There are carts. You don't see anyone running. You don't see anyone that looks out of place. Pretty much all the people that you see on the street look like, citizens of the Borderlands. They look like people from Aner. They're dressed in, cool weather clothing. They don't seem out of place.
Okay. I'm going to give up on chasing him. I'm going to explain to Sarah and Leonard what's going on.
Okay. You do. Cut back to Claude and Bane. You guys can see Bivoj is looking around in the room.
See anything there?
You see him under
Little
the
guy. Well, if he's not there, he's probably went down the stairs. So, come on, Bane, I'll get you up and let's get down the stairs.
Bane, you stand up.
Wobbly.
This man holds the answers to what I'm missing. I will find him.
All right.
Well, let's get you down the stairs.
You guys start heading downstairs. Oldrad, it's you and Karamina. She's awake. Her eyes are open. She's just looking at you.
Were you planning to meet somebody here, Karamina?
If I say no, you wouldn't believe me. And if
Perhaps.
I said yes, you would want more answers.
Most definitely.
You won't find him. And now he won't find me.
Unfortunate.
She says, it is unfortunate. I offered to take you to Southport with us. Think of how much you could have learned. But instead, your group is insistent on returning me to Lee Castle. For what reason I cannot surmise. As I've maintained, I'm innocent.
Find that out once we get to Lee Castle.
I suppose we shall, Old Red Warmail.
I say nothing else.
She lays back down in the bed. Smash cut to the foyer. Liber, Leonard, and Sarah. As Liber is explaining everything, what happened, you see Claude and Bane coming down the stairs.
I think we need to somehow convey what all we know. It's getting really messy. I say to Liber and Sarah.
Well, should we do a search of the town?
Bivoj, roll me a. You're searching the room still, right? So I need Bivoj to make a d20 roll for searching the room. Oh, he just stepped away. Okay, so that's fine. We'll do that in a minute. So you guys are talking in the foyer. Continue.
So should we do a search of the town? He
I
couldn't
don't
have gotten
think so.
far.
I feel like
I mean-
something's going on. I don't want to separate anymore.
Yeah. Also, I don't think we know who do we looking for. She evidently had somebody that she was working in this establishment. I don't know how long they were here.
And Bane was out cold. I think we should go up to the room and see what's going on.
You know, I've long wanted to have a talk with that woman.
I would leave a town for that.
I am going to ask someone. Hold on, let me pull up his roles. I need someone to make the search roll for Bivoj. So somebody roll me a d20.
I'll do it.
Bivoj has a wisdom of 6, to be clear. So
Out. I got a 2.
excellent.
I should have done it.
That is perfect. Okay, so you guys are discussing this, and you decide that what are you going to do? Go back upstairs?
Yeah, I want to go back upstairs and get to Karamina's room.
Okay,
I just say
you are discussing that, and you're about to head back upstairs. Oldrad, you make a d20 roll, since you're currently the only person upstairs other than an NPC.
I rolled a 5.
You hear a thump sound next door.
Which side?
The room that Bane was passed out in front of.
Okay.
Karamina
You over there?
heard it too. She
What?
perked up when she heard that.
Bivoj, you okay?
There's no response.
Great. I go to the door, open it.
Do you close the door behind you, leaving Karamina alone in the room?
Hell no.
What do you do with Karamina?
Well, first off, I'm just looking out the door in the hallway.
Okay. You don't see anybody in the hallway. Bane's gone. Liber's gone. Claude's gone.
Jesus Christ. I'm not leaving this room.
Okay. There was no response from Bivoj when you called out.
Sorry, B-boy. Rip.
Okay. So you're in the room.
That's my turn.
Got an eye on Karamina. The rest of you start making your way back up the stairs. When you get to the top of the stairs, as you're walking back towards your rooms, you see the open door of the room that Vincenzo was in. And it's still open. And you see Bivoj laying down on the ground underneath the table. He seems to be asleep. You don't see any evidence of any wounds on Bivoj. He seems to be dead asleep, much like Bane was.
I'll give him a
still
little.
here.
I'll give him a little tap like was given to me.
A little tap, he's sleeping.
Smack, smack. Well, my little
Smack
tap
him
is
a few
probably
times.
smack him.
All right, Bivoj, you feel smacked inside your head a few times, and you find yourself on the ground underneath the table that you were searching. Can't hear you.
The dwarf had to be here. Ooh, I don't know how I got to the ground. I swear.
The last thing you remember is that you were searching the room, you'd gotten down to search the table, and then here you are.
And that's what happened.
Well, I'm heading to the room with Karamina in it.
Okay. You guys go to the room with Karamina in it.
Well, I do. I don't know what anyone else does. I went
I
too
stay
heavy.
with B-Boy and let's continue the search. If he cannot do out, he might be somewhere around here as well.
Okay.
I'll stand guard at the door and make sure no one comes in behind them.
So Bane is at the door. Leonard and Bivoj are searching the room. Sarah is going to the room, Oldrad and Karamina. Claude?
Yeah, I'm gonna head over back to my room with Jeffrey and see how he's doing.
Okay. Jeffrey is still unconscious. Liber?
When I see B-Boy unconscious, I think I'm thinking Vincenzo's still here. So I say that to everyone. I think Vincenzo might still be here. And draw my rapier and do a more careful search in that room.
Okay. You do. You 3 people are now searching that room thoroughly. Back to the Karamina room. Oldrad and Sarah, you're in that room with Karamina.
Karamina.
Yes.
Sorry I have to do this, but it's for your own safety and ours. And I bring out my rope. I tie your hands.
She's already tied.
Oh, okay, good. I check the rope, and then I sit down on the bed next to her, and I say, we should have a chat. Us two.
Of course, Lady Marjit. As you wish. I am, after all, your guest.
Why was I asleep for so long?
You mean yesterday, or...
The 14 years that were lost from my life while I slept in the mountains.
She says, if you're asking me to explain exactly how that happened, I cannot. Because
I don't want to know how it happened.
That knowledge.
I want to know why it happened.
She says, that I can answer. But why would I? Why would I answer that for you when your group has detained me from returning to Southport? You've taken my personal belongings without due cause, without any hearing before a magistrate or lord, effectively kidnapping a noble. Why would I share that information with you? What reassurances do I have?
I'm asking you because many things are unclear and confusing. There is no worse feeling than being confused. We have not confused you. You know where we plan to take you. But we don't know where we've been, what has happened, or why we are even here now. When I left all those years ago, it was for me an adventure, a hire. I was to go with this large group. I was to be an archer. I was to lead a squadron of archers. I had that capability. I didn't know exactly where we were going. I remember the rain. I remember the storm. I remember someone prior to all this giving me a scroll. I mean, I want to remember. So why don't I remember?
Make a charisma roll. Roll under.
Yes. I've got decent charisma.
Okay. Got an 11, and that is under my charisma.
She says to you, and Oldrad, you're still in the room, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't told him to leave.
She says, very well, I will tell you the answer to the question that you asked. Why? She says, you and all like you who experienced the phenomenon, I believe that what befell you was a result of you interrupting something that was happening. I believe that you were part of a large group that was trying to interrupt something that was happening. And I believe that what happened to you and why it happened to you was a consequence of that interruption. I believe that perhaps not even a consequence that was intended, but more of a side effect. You were at the right place at the wrong time.
What was supposed to happen?
I don't know. I only suspect that what was supposed to happen had something to do with time, but that your alliance interrupted that, and as a result, what was intended did not happen, and instead something else happened.
So now a more personal question. Actually, I will make a statement. So my family is all dead, aren't they?
I don't know if they're all dead, but they might as well be. Your family doesn't have any holdings anymore. Your family as a noble house doesn't exist.
Why not?
After the storms, your family's holdings and their position was severely weakened. And another coalition of noble houses took advantage of that weakness to take over your family's holdings and their wealth and their resources in order to benefit themselves.
Who?
Another noble family.
Who?
She looks at Oldrad, and then she looks back at you and she says, I don't think I should say.
Who?
House Nicolo. And you notice she's not smiling. She's not like rubbing it in your face. She seems almost like reticent, or almost slightly ashamed to admit that.
Oldrad? I have to
Yes.
leave for a minute.
Very well.
As you step out into the hallway, you hear multiple sounds in the room that's being searched as Bane is guarding the door. You guys flip the whole room upside down, like beds, everything. You go through everything physically, and you find no one in that room. Sarah, make a wisdom roll under. And actually, I'll say, Bane, you can also, even though you don't have a great wisdom, I will say that you can also make a wisdom roll under.
Ah, natural 1.
And I got a 4.
Okay, remember how I described to you that Vincenzo's room, like that the shutters were open, the drapes were like blowing out to the outside? Bane, you notice that the drapes aren't blowing outside anymore. They're kind of blowing in more. Sarah, when you come out, you notice that there's a slight draft. And the draft seems to be blowing down the hall. You notice this because the candle that's in the middle of the hallway is drafting towards the end of the hallway. And as you look down there at the end of the hallway, you notice that the shutters to that window at the end of the hallway are open. And you see something connected to the chair that's at the end of the hallway.
He went this way. I walk over there.
Bane, you see
It's
Sarah
kind of
walking down the end of the
A
hallway.
little bit of a daze, but I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to look.
When you get there, there's nothing but moonlight illuminating this spot. But you see a heavy wooden chair, and you see a rope tied around the base of the chair, dangling out the window.
He went out this window by rope.
And as Sarah says that, Bane, you look down the hallway, you see where she's standing. And that is where we'll end this episode of The Lamenters, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Keep watching. Someday we'll finish up season 2. Someday.
I never want it to end.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. We'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Peace out.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.